The agenda today, we have Judge Boone.
Afternoon again, gentlemen. I have, as you know, we have been interviewing to complete our office. We're a position down until recently, and we have come to a final decision on someone, and we'd like to recommend them for employment to the commission. I don't know if you want me to go through that now.
Go ahead and tell us who you're recommending.
Sure.
And at the regular meeting, Mackenzie will bring it up.
Okay. We're recommending Tori Lynn Giles of Brundage to be hired as a court assistant 2 at the starting pay.
Questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for being here. Kim Ellis. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
All right. Commissioner from Crenshaw County, come on up to the podium and welcome the Pike County Commission.
We sure appreciate it. Gentlemen, really, I'm here on behalf of the Toronto Community Center. We just want to thank you guys for all the support that you give us down at that center, and we'd also like to thank Wiregrass RC&D for the donations and stuff. The money has been greatly needed down there, and I think if you've had a chance to go by and look at it, you can tell that we've done a lot of good with the amount of money that we've had. We also are having a peanut bowl on the 24th. Starting at 9 o'clock in the morning at the center. We'll also be selling cakes and pies as a fundraiser. We'd welcome all you guys to come out and spend a little time with us. And we'll also have those peanuts available at your farmer's market that morning also. So if people in Troy that can't get down that way, want to go out and support the community center, stop by your farmer's market and pick up a bag or two.
Great. Thanks for being here, Kim. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just for everybody that doesn't know, last year you guys got $5,000 from RC&D, right? Exactly. This year you've been approved for 2.
Right, $4,500, but we've got to expend it by the end of this month, and we're going to meet that goal. We did most everything on the inside of that building except the restrooms, so we're going to get all those out, completely redo those, and any money from then on will be spent on the outside of the building.
Great.
But it's a real nice building. It's up for rent at any time. If people want to have family reunions, gatherings, whatever, we welcome you to come by, look at it, and see if it fits your venues.
Great.
Gentlemen, thank y'all.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Next, we'll recognize Mr. Mark Richardson.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for having me.
It is.
I am here today not only to speak for myself, but to speak for the community of Steele's Crossroads, which is right there for the ones that don't know where it's at. It's right on the corner of Bullock County, and I can throw a rock from my driveway into Bullock County. That intersection has become a nightmare. It's dangerous. Trucks fly through there all hours of the night. I mean, you can tell they're flying speed. There's been several wrecks there where jaws of life had been used because people run the stop sign. What I was asking is, could that be made a true 4-way stop? If it was a true 4-way stop, that would have prevented, if not all, most of those accidents. And something's got to be done. I mean, Jason Shazo, the Bullock County engineer, has gone in, had the state come in and restripe the intersection. He went and restriped 8 all the way back to 223, and then 7 from Crossroads all the way up to Greenwood Community almost. And then Pike County just went a couple hundred yards each direction. There's been rumble strips put on 6600 and Bullock County 7. But yeah, those are okay, fine. But one of them, on 7, the first one they put in, there's a bad spot in the road where they fixed it and really messed it up. Where they put the first rumble strip? Right on top of that.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Richardson,
Yes, sir.
I think our engineer has looked at that on some occasions, and I don't know if he came up with any analysis whatsoever. Yeah, one thing we can do is ask him, our engineer, because he looked at it a couple of times. Commissioner Wright asked him to look at it. I can remember that. So whatever our engineer come up with and deal with the state, that's what we'll try to do.
Well, I mean,
Recommendation.
they said too that, or Commissioner Wright said that traffic counters were put up on 7711. Well, they weren't. They were put on Nemore Road, which is 7708. Has nothing to do with 7711. 7711 butts in T intersections in the issue, if you will. My parents live on 6618, right there in the Josie community. Pike County just went and put a brand new bridge in there. Beautiful bridge. But come each end of the bridge, they were supposed to repave. Well, they went in there and poured gravel and tar and all this, and it's so rough. You can't even go across 30 miles an hour, it'll rattle films out of your teeth. I mean, my question is, if Pike County was, I'm sure there's a grant involved and all that with federal grant, but if there's that much money spent on a bridge, why couldn't they spend the money to pave each side of the bridge?
Commissioner Copeland can answer.
Well, that's 6618 is, we've got a matter of fact, tonight, you came to a good meeting to kind of hear some debate on where we are on road work, because we've got hopefully a 15-year plan that we are going to approve tonight. But one of the reasons we couldn't, 6618 is a pretty expensive road from beginning to end. I don't have my paper with all our estimates, but that's over $1 million worth. So up until the new gas tax was passed, each year we had a little less than $500,000 that we could spend on paving at all. So there's a lot of roads throughout. That one happens to be in my district, but throughout all 6 districts that are in bad shape that we'd love to pave. 6618 is one of them that's been at the top of our list, I know, for 3 years. We did have that road slated at one time to try to pave because we were spending the money on the bridge. One of the issues that we ran into is that we had an area in another part of the county that the road was a lot worse and had a lot higher traffic count, and that's where we ended up spending that money. That's not a good answer, but that's the true answer. Inside of this, 6618 is one of our highest priority roads. Part of the issue there, though, being, how do we fund it inside of this plan when it was a little over 2 years worth of our resurfacing money. Now it's going to be about, after year 1, it's still going to be about 2 years worth of our resurfacing money. So that's one of the things we've been wrestling with all these roads, is how can we fit them in the plan, and then it's not always, this isn't always, it doesn't help everybody's feelings when we lay it out this way. But another thing that we have to take into account is, as we're assessing those roads, what are the traffic counts on those roads, and what is the grading on that road as we go through and put all those grades together. So for instance, a grade C that's got 500 cars a day on it, we have to give it precedent over one that's, say, a grade B with less traffic on it. And one of the things that we're going to do tonight is try to approve some of that plan.
I know 6618, other than the bridge, it's a mess. The bridge is great. It's just each end of the bridge is not great. And then the road itself, all the 18-wheelers and all that are just tearing the road to pieces, just like a lot of roads throughout the state, not just Pike County, but the state.
You won't get any argument from us on the condition of 6618, I promise you. That's part of our wrestling match, is how do you take as many miles of roads we got and so many that need paving and try to prioritize them. A lot of times there's not a really good way. That's why I told you what I told you just a minute ago. It wasn't necessarily it was the honest answer, it wasn't necessarily a good answer.
Right. Well, see, I'm 54 years old. I've lived out up there on the farm for 52 years. I've never seen that road repaved. Never.
Well,
that-
up until this tax starts being collected September the 1st, and none of the counties will receive any of that tax money until January 1. When that bridge was rebuilt with a federal highway motor safety grant, at that time, the county was on a 137-year paving cycle with the funding we had. 137 years.
I just said that, I didn't believe it.
So when you make the comment about why would you put in a nice bridge in the road, the county had been forced to look at some things like, if the road may be in bad shape, but if we don't replace the bridge, we're going to have to close the road down because the bridge is so posted or unsafe. You know what I mean? And it was in the past, it'd been in a catch-22 where it was replace the bridge and let people keep using the road, or the bridge is going to be closed and the road won't be able to handle through traffic. But we can look if and I'll get with you in the session and look at, kind of get up a time. Show you how we're going to work this up tonight. But if it's just something as bad as it's the end of the bridges, we may get with engineering and see if there's something they can do on those approaches, to make it where you can come up on the new bridge a little smoother.
Right, just coming from each direction,
You got a big bump on either end.
on either side. You got to slow down. It's at 30, 35, you're still going to rattle the film take your teeth. And it's ridiculous. I'm just thinking, all this money spent on a new bridge and they can't do something better than this?
But if you'll hang around, Commissioner Johnson will get with you in just a little bit when we have a break. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Engineer.
Afternoon again.
Good evening.
We have, under new business, we have two items, project update and personnel. Under project update, I don't have anything specifically to point out. That's the monthly project update, other than we're expecting the deed finally
That's
to
what I
come
was going to
in
ask. Where are we at on D? We were closed last time.
any day now. What's the
The owner was reviewing it himself. His schedule was for tomorrow, and then we should get it back sometime in.
Yeah, so we were
Still on time to get it.
hoping for,
for a few weeks, I would think.
right. So we'll have to approve an agreement, I think, is what they're going to ask for with them, and then once we get the property deed, then we'll be ready to go ahead with advertising. We've got all the documents ready. So, but under personnel, we did have a resignation. That letter is in your agenda package, so we'll need to go ahead and start advertising for a replacement for that individual. Then under current business, we do have an industrial access agreement for you to consider, and you have a resolution there in your agenda package that needs to be approved, and that's for the industrial access grant to resurface County Road 7707 from US 231 to Lockheed Martin. And as you can see on the proposed, which we'll get to a little later, but the proposed CTP for next year, that project is on there to be funded in part by the FAEF funds. And I can show you where that is whenever we get to that document. But anyway, just to clarify that, normally on an existing road, the Industrial Access Board only gives us half of what we need to do the work. So we have to come up with some other funding source for the other half, and that's what we're proposing to use the federal aid exchange funds for. There's nothing new to report on the other items, 3 and 4 there. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know what the number is on your page you're looking at. But moving down to item number 8, that's the last thing that we have tonight that requires any action, and that's the proposed county transportation plan, which is required under the new Rebuild Alabama Act for next fiscal year. And just to point out one minor correction there, we did correct the total mileage. The mileage for County Road 2290 had to be, well, that project had to be shown twice because we're using two different types of funding for that project. So the mileage for that one ended up getting counted twice on the document that you had at your last meeting. So that's been corrected, and the total miles there is 57.82.
Questions for the engineer?
Mr. Chairman, I did also give you a little bit of information about what we can possibly do over the 15-year period. You know, as you all know, you're looking at borrowing against the Rebuild Alabama funds for some of the projects we're looking at doing next year. and you know, the numbers that we've run so far are spreading that loan out over a 15-year period. So I've given you some information there on what we could possibly, hopefully, you know, using our existing cost estimates, what we could accomplish over that 15-year period using the remainder of the new funds above and beyond what's being used every year to pay off debt. So that's the total amount there is about roughly 185 miles. And we also have, you know, we hopefully will be able to replace about 25 bridges. And that would be using the, we anticipate that would be using the lodging tax revenue that comes in above and beyond your fund, your cap. And we've been using that money to replace one-lane timber bridges, which have been a thorn in our side, and we do have some of those left. So we also have a few concrete bridges left on paved roads with timber substructures. So that's what the structures that are in that number.
All right. Anything else for the engineer? Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
You made that. Attorney Allen, you got anything for us today?
No report.
Any commissioner? We were supposed to have an executive session for a matter of commerce and trade. However, no one's here to represent that to us. I
was told today he will be here.
I was told.
Assuming that he meant it must mean it was 6.
Okay, so at the regular meeting. Okay, there you go. So at the regular meeting, we will do that when that appropriate time hits us. Come on in, Mayor, and have a seat.
And that item does qualify for,
Okay.
under that exception.
All right. Okay, administrative report.
First of all, we have the Pike County Water Authority Board appointment. Mr. Ronnie Floyd passed away that was on that board. And we'll need to see about appointing somebody to finish out that term.
Commissioner Coe.
Pike County, I talked with Mr. Steve Carter. The Pike County Water Authority is currently in a cycle where they got about $5 million worth of reinvestment that they're making into the water system through a grant loan combination. He's asked that Mr. Mike Meredith be appointed in his spot. One of the reasons, the main reason, is because Mr. Mike is extremely familiar with the project and the way that everything's being done with this, the Water Authority at this time. And so he's asked if we could, because they're in the middle of this grant loan and this upgrade, that if we could suspend the rules and approve Mr. Mike tonight.
Okay. Any questions on that? Go ahead, Kenny.
All right. Next, we'll go down to under current business. I will let you know that the EDA grant, we approved it. We've got those funds taken care of, and I believe me and Commissioner Johnson and the engineer will be meeting tomorrow for a conference call just to see where we're going and how everything will work
Good.
on that. That's just an update on that. The Pike County Jail, we have set a date. We're going to have a preliminary meeting about the architect selection. So we're planning on doing that in the next couple of weeks. That's where we are on the jail. And working on getting everything done with the purchase of the property. And the budget, of course, that'll forward on, and we can talk about that at the next meeting once everybody's had a chance to look at it and come by and see me so we can make any changes. If we see something that needs to be changed, we can get that taken care of. The next item for the commission office, the checking account closure, that's on that account for the Rex lumber funds. We have paid out the final monies in that account, and I would like to ask you all to make a motion to close that account so that we can have that book closed, that account closed and taken off of our books. The next item would be the completion of probation. Ms. Courtney Brown in our office has completed her 6 months probation satisfactory, and I'd like to have her moved to a regular full-time employee. The next item is the LCYDC and DYS agreements, which are for our juveniles detention. This is a budgeted amount in our budget already. This is something we do on an annual basis along with the Alabama Office of Courts for housing of juveniles. The next item will be the personnel for the probate office that Judge Bunn has already brought up. We'll have that. And last, I have the Hutton resolution, and this all goes back to the agreement that we've already made with Hutton. It's not any changes. Our attorney, Alan Jones, has taken a look at it. If you've got any questions about it, there is a copy in your agenda package, but it's something that...
Ready to go?
Well, it's a resolution to formalize everything with us, with the city, with Hutton. The resolution contains no information different than what we have already signed in the project agreement. So it's just to formalize it. So we were asked to submit it, and if I passed on it, then would y'all just suspend the rules? I recommend you do, unless they can get on with the project.
And I've actually got it under current business because it's something that, we were currently dealing with, so you wouldn't even have to suspend the rules.
Yeah, we won't have to suspend the rules. The only thing I think that we will have is the Pike County Water Authority appointment, and everything else is good.
Yes, we'll have that, and the engineer has a personnel issue that he wants to go ahead that'll be suspended. That's all I have. I would like to mention, I know you all have heard, I believe, that Miss Joy Brown passed away from the Pike County Extension Service Friday. Sad to hear that. It was very unexpected. The grassroots meeting that she was planning on hosting on Wednesday has been canceled at this time. So just wanted to let you know, if you have that on your calendars, that you can take it off.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Go ahead.
Go back to the jail with Mackenzie. We having that committee's having a meeting on the 28th, and there are about 4, maybe 5 out-of-state architects on there, and I want to make sure that I know for definite how the commissions feel about the out-of-state. If they ain't gonna get voted upon to do the architect, why have them to spend the money to come down to Pike County and stay overnight and all that, and that's not gonna get. I just want to know how the commissions feel about that.
I certainly think we ought to take a look at all of our local people first. And that's the way I feel about it.
That's what I was thinking too. But
However,
I want to know because Ken's got the list, and I hope everybody got the list and looked at it. And when I got the email, that's the first thing I called and talked to her about.
let me say this, on the reverse side of that, it could be that we would get a lot lower price. I don't know.
Well, architecture is actually, the price for that, my understanding, is based on the amount of the price of the building and what type of building it is. There's the set laws in the state of Alabama how much an architect can charge, and it's based on the type of building and the amount of the cost of building the building. Do you agree with that? I have been given a pamphlet from the Alabama Architect Association, or whatever it's called, and it says that. It was surprising to me.
Go ahead, Commissioner Cole.
Yeah, I would just say my understanding is that, when we're setting out the selection criteria, then local would be it. It wouldn't disqualify you because you're out of state, but if they understand that, hey, one of the things that I'm being judged on is, am I local? And I've chosen to come down to do that, and that would be on them. But as that selection criteria is laid out to them, and we've already looked over that, they should know that as we're assessing architects, the local ones would get a higher evaluation as far as location, in the scale. So, but
That's the reason I asked.
but we may get one just say out of Atlanta that's, he missed that, and I'm throwing that out there. I don't know that there's one from Atlanta, but they may be, hey, I didn't get the local points, but I'm the best one of all of these, and you guys grade them out that way. And when you bring your recommendation to us, hey, he's my number one, even though he's not local.
And I'd say too, that, Ken, there was a pre-vetting process, and there's a reason the people are going to get interviewed. There was something that showed out positive for them to be interviewed. So that part would be about it, an interview. Who needed interviewing?
If not, McKinsey, you hadn't sent everybody a selection of those architects for.
Y'all should have
I
gotten
think we all
one.
got it all
Yes.
this afternoon, yeah. Okay, anything else at this time? All right, the work session will now come to a close. We will reconvene at 6 p.m. for our regular meeting. Pike County Commission regular meeting is now in session. Commissioner Johnson is going to give our invocation.
Bow your heads with me, please. Father, thank you for allowing us to come together tonight safely to meet on the business of the people of this community. Watch over and protect us. Give us guidance and wisdom, Lord. We ask you these and all things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that Commissioner Wright from District 1 is absent. Approving of the August 26 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barron.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approving of the claims.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Engineer's report.
Mr. Chairman, the first item that we have requiring action is we ask you to suspend the rules and approve advertising for mechanic 1 or 2, depending on qualification.
Chairman, I make the motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Barron. Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, and now we need a motion to approve the hiring or the advertising.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Barron. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, and next we have the funding agreement for the industrial access project for County Road 7707.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Harris,
Second.
second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and lastly, we have the county transportation plan for the next fiscal year.
Okay. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all we have.
Okay, thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
You may not hear, Alan, anything to add?
No.
Okay, we'll wait till the end of the meeting to go into executive session for trade and commerce. Ms. McKenzie.
All right, the first item I have is for the Pike County Water Authority Board appointment, and it's my understanding y'all would like to go ahead and suspend the rules and,
Mr.
but-
Chairman, I make a motion we suspend the rules to the point.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Copeland to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second.
I'm
Second by
sorry.
Commissioner Johnson.
Losing my mind.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, and now we need a motion to accept Mr. Mike Meredith as the board appointee for the Pike County Water Authority.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Copeland,
Second it.
second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next item that I have will be the closing of the Rex lumber account, checking account.
So,
Motion by Commissioner Harris,
Second.
second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is the completion of probation by Ms. Courtney Brown in the commission office. I'd like to go ahead and appoint her as a regular full-time employee for the county.
Mr. Chairman, I put that in motion.
Motion by Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next item is the agreements for juvenile housing with Lee County Youth Development Center and DYS. This is something we normally do every year, and it's just time for those to be approved for this new upcoming budget year.
So I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barron, seconded by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I'm going to let probate judge come back up for the personnel with the probate office, but I will go ahead and go down to the Hutton resolution. If we could get a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, after probate judge comes up, we'll just need to make a motion for
Okay.
the executive session.
Back, Judge.
Thank you for having me again. And before I do this, something I wanted to tell you earlier. There's been a lot of discussion in the news locally and nationally about security and elections, and I just want to, we have worked with the Department of Homeland Security as well as our elections vendor, and I can tell you that the Pike County election system is 100% safe. There will not be any hacking or any of the other nonsense you're hearing about in other places. So feel comfortable in that respect.
Yes, sir.
We'd like to recommend Tori Lynn Giles as a court assistant 2. This is replacing somebody that has left. This is not an additional position.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make the motion we approve the probate judge's request.
Motion by Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
May proceed, Judge. Need a motion that we go into executive session on matters of commerce and trade. It will be for approximately 15 minutes.
Make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Barron. Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, we'll be in executive session for approximately 15 minutes. Pike County Commission back in regular meeting from the executive session. Anything need to come before the commission at this time? Closing comments? Mr. Barry?
Yeah, I'd like to keep Miss Jordan Brown's family in the thoughts and prayers and families with the accident over last week.
Thank you.
I would echo Commissioner Barron's concerns.
Commissioner Harris?
Same.
Commissioner Johnson?
I have none.
Next scheduled meeting is August 26th. We'll begin our work session at 5:15. After the regular meeting, we'll finish or talk about the budget again. So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Johnson. By Robert Rules, we're adjourned.